him. Anyway.
You into gloat? That's what's happening here?
No, I'm not into gloat. No, there's a couple. Yeah, obviously, it did okay yesterday. Yeah, I was the only person screaming for biometric because Frankie Dettori loomed up past the furlong pole. But look, yesterday was Frankie Dettori day, wasn't it? Like in 1996, he went through the card. 7 winners that day, and like ITV were losing their mind when Stradivarius won the Gold Cup, made it 4 out of 4. The price about Turgenev was ludicrous. I mean, you're talking about the Britannia handicap. It's a 30-runner handicap over the straight mile, where it should be 5 or 6 to 1 the field. Generally, if you want to get a bet on, you can get whatever you want on the Britannia, and Turgenev was 2 to 1. Such were the volumes of money rolling on to Frankie in the Britannia. Now, ultimately, he was beaten by biometric. It was quipped afterwards, there'll be a statue of Harry Bentley put up by the bookmakers at Royal Ascot after that. But the contrast between the two is significant because of the sums involved and sort of guff they're talking about in bookmakers, because if you go to Lee Mottershead's piece in the Racing Post today, he spoke to a couple of bookmakers in the ring and like, we're down $4,000 or $5,000, and in the context of the strength of betting liquidity, it's chicken feed compared to what would have been the case like Gary Witherford. He lost £1 million on the day in the ring in Ascot in '96. So yes, some of the big firms would have stood to lose a few quid, and they were trying to drive down the price in the ring. But as regards the sort of coup or the impact it would have had for these, multi-billion pound corporations, I think they'll survive.
Did you say a bookie who was on course in the ring in '96 lost £1 million?
Yes, on the Frankie Dettori 7-timer, because he just he just kept standing him. That's your job, isn't it?
So you double down. Whenever he gets 5, you're like, Jesus, I need to chase it. He was chasing it back. Was that what happened?
Well, he was just there going, well, the price is now wrong. I mean, like go back to yesterday, Frankie Dettori 2 to 1 in the Britannia. That's, even if that wins, that's one of the worst bets you'll ever stake in your life. I mean, 2 to 1 about a horse in the Britannia that isn't, a stone well in is ludicrous. And maybe sometimes people think, just because you have a winning bet, it doesn't make it a good bet. That's just confirmation bias. Like, you should have an idea about the statistical chance of a horse actually winning a race. You think about having a bet at 20 to 1. You're not really thinking there's a 95% chance of losing, are you?
No.
So if you did think
applying far too much logic, by the way, to the way that I would ever think about applying a bet.
Yeah, but anyway, look, yes, it was really all about Frankie. It was so nice. You talk about in 1996 as well. Like, he would have been the main man at Godolphin. Also, he's 48 years old now, and he's still the man to go in Group 1 racing, which is incredible. First winner was for Simon Crisford, of course. He was the racing manager.
Sorry, what did you say he was?
48.
Right, bloody hell.
But his first winner of the day was for Simon Crisford. He used to be the manager for Godolphin back in the day, so there's a link there. Actually, there was a lovely piece on At the Races as well. Matt Chapman brought it up, linking in the late Pat Eddery. And when Fujiyama Crest, who's Frankie Dettori's 7th leg of the famous 7-timer, came in, only one jockey really came to have a run at him, and it was Pat Eddery on a horse carrying the Khaled Abdullah Silks. And yesterday, the situation was similar. Frankie Dettori went for home and Turgenev in the Britannia, and the only horse to chase after him was Biometric in the Khaled Abdullah Silks. And Matt Chapman thought, well, maybe Pat was looking down and just said, go on. And he turned the form around. Also, the story from that was that apparently the legend goes that Pat Eddery was the only other one who was actually off in that race. And the rest of them just geared down and let Frankie win, but Pat Eddery wasn't going to have it.
Not having it. Fair enough. Looking ahead to today, Aidan O'Brien, 3 favourites and good shape today, Aidan O'Brien. Yeah,
really good shape. Look, he's got Hermosa's Jewel Kinney's winner. She's lining up in the big fillies race. The Coronation Stakes at 4:20. She's a shade of odds on, deservedly so. So as probably mentioned, Frankie Dettori, he'll be on board Twist and Shake, which seems a slightly strange decision considering he would have had options to ride others. She's a big enough price. Look, Hermosa, Jewel Kinney's winner, shade of odds on, looks a good thing. Look, Frankie's got 6 winners so far this week, but actually Ryan Moore wouldn't take much to reel him back. If he has those 3 winners today, he'd be on 5. So, look, Hermosa looks a really solid chance in that. They've got 10 Sovereigns as well in the Commonwealth Cup, who's dropping back in trip. He was very impressive as a 2-year-old last year. He's by no name ever, so suggested on pedigree. The drop down in trip will suit him in the Commonwealth Cup. That's at 3:40. Again, it's kind of slightly difficult to oppose Ballydoyle today, and Japan's another intriguing one then in the 305, the Edward VII. So it's going to be a big day for Ballydoyle, big day for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. They have those three really short price favourites. Okay. Quite difficult to look past them, but like you can't, as a selection, I'd definitely put up Jubiloso against Hermosa. Perhaps she could be over the top. But on what today should have been, it should have been an amazing day for a smaller yard, Sheila Lavery's. They have a horse called Lady Kaya who actually finished second to Hermosa in the Guineas, and they decided that she should step down in trip. Like, you talk about what happened to them was literally like someone burning a winning lottery ticket in front of you. She broke down the gallops last week, and so she was due to line up in the Commonwealth Cup today. She won't run. She is no more. But like, she's literally, like I said, literally like losing a winning lottery ticket. So they're a small yard. They've got a filly called Lil Grey in the first at 2:30. So there will not be a dry eye in the house if she wins, because it just could have been the day of days for the Lavery team if Lady Kaya had lined up in the Commonwealth Cup later on. But look, Lil Grey is a right chance in the Albany, the first. But the security could be called in at Royal Ascot in the last, by the way. Number 13 in the card, Arthurian Flame. Leopardstown brought in a new race a couple of weeks ago, the Microsoft Cup they call it, and it's just for lady riders. It's a 50 grand handicap, and Arthurian Flame won it, but it's owned by the BlackRock Racing Syndicate. It's about 50 lads who are all ex-BlackRock guys, and they went buck ape, to say the least, and they had like Hayley Turner up on their shoulders and all sorts. So this horse actually is quite a good chance in the 5:35. It's 2 out of 2 so far this season. Joseph O'Brien trains, Donnacha O'Brien on board, and if that wins, those odds are going to be absolutely full of champagne at that stage of the day as well. So very good. Keep an eye out for Arthurian Flame, even just for the scenes post-race. I'd say they'll make the papers.
Very good. You're going to put your tips up on Twitter, and I'm sure we'll retweet it from Off the Ball.
Yeah. After yesterday, yes. Stop clocking. Well, I was 0 from 13 by the second race.
Okay, right. So you can only get better after that.
Absolutely.
Thanks a million. Look forward to it.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thanks.